Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is the parent information session for Earthroots Field School, fall 2022 to spring 2023 homeschool programs. My name is Jodi, and I'm the founder and executive director for Earthroots Field School. And I'm really grateful to have an opportunity to share about our programs and hopefully inspire some more nature connection in our community. I wanted to introduce Karen Graham. She's our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and Jordan, who is an instructor for the Forest Kindergarten program. And we're going to be sharing with you today details of our Forest Kindergarten homeschool field class and our 2-day homeschool enrichment in nature program. Give me just a moment to set up the slideshow. Okay, so I have to figure out how to share my screen and do the slideshow at the same time. Give me just a minute. Okay, Karen and Jordan, are you seeing the full screen or are you still seeing my background?
I see the full screen. Looks good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start off with just a general announcement about Earthroots Field School. We were founded in 2005 in Orange County, California. And we started with a single homeschool field class, which met once a week and had 8 students in it. And the parents of those students were interested in having their kids be out in the fresh air and exploring the best places around Orange County. And that's what they got. And after that class, each year, the families would say, oh, could you also offer something for my younger child? Or would you be able to offer an after school program? Or what about on the weekends so that the families could attend as well? And over the years, the last 17 years, that's what's been created, is a very rich offering of diverse classes to meet homeschoolers where they're at and families who are in the public school where they're at, and families who don't have children, classes for adults and teens. And if you can imagine it, we're so grateful that we're able to do all of these classes in Orange County, which has millions of people living in this beautiful place. And you wouldn't think necessarily that there's so much outdoor areas to explore, but there really is, and the access is stellar. So we're so grateful to be here and be able to lead these programs. Let's see. I'd love to also just go straight into it with the Forest Kindergarten. Oh no, let me introduce Karen first. Karen, did you want to share anything about your background or how you came to be at Earthroots? And then we'll start in with the programs.
Sure. Thanks, Jodi. So I began at Earthroots many years ago, about, gosh, my daughter's 11 now, so 9 years ago, 9 years ago, as a parent and a participant in the Forest Kindergarten program. And I loved it, and it was just exactly what my family needed to connect with nature and to give our family opportunities to be in nature and build community with like-minded people that I am still getting deeper and deeper rooted into Earthroots with each year. It's been really an amazing thing for my family. And previous to joining Earthroots as a participant, I was a teacher in Long Beach Unified as a public school teacher for about 14 years. And I taught and wrote curriculum. And when I started at Earthroots, it was as a participant, but now I currently work for Earthroots as the Director of Curriculum Instruction, writing curriculum, training instructors, and also I'm an instructor myself at Journey School, where I lead the eco-literacy program for Earthroots there. So yeah, I've just sort of grown as Earthroots grown with them, and it's just been a great honor to be part of it. That's anything else? Do you have anything I should add, Jodi?
That's perfect for now. We'll hand you the mic back in a few minutes, but I wanted to let Jordan share a little bit about herself as well, how you came to work at Earthroots and what you're doing with the organization now.
Okay, my name is Jordan Gomez. and I'm the Forest Kindergarten instructor. I have a bachelor's degree in child development. I've been working with children for over 10 years, and I've always been very connected to nature education for children. So Earthroots is like the perfect place for me to work.
We're so grateful to have you. Well, let's start with our youngest program, the Forest Kindergarten group. And I'll just introduce a little bit about it, and then I'll pass the mic back to Jordan to share some of the details of the classes. So this program is really for parents with their child or caregivers with a child. And we meet from 9 to 2, 1 day a week on Tuesdays. And the program meets in the beginning of the year when it's warm out on the coast, and we meet in Laguna Beach. And then about a month or so into the program in the fall, we move to our main site, which is Big Oak Canyon in Silverado Canyon. And this is a site that Earthroots purchased in 2011. And it has mature oak woodlands, a creek, a spring, a garden area, and an orchard. So there's a lot of space to explore. It's 39 acres and has variable terrain and amazing views. And it's really the perfect home for this program. So from there, I'll just pass it back over to you, Jordan, and I'd love for you to share more about the curriculum and what activities the Forest Kindergarten program does.
Thank you, Jodi. So Forest Kindergarten, like Jodi said, takes place for most of the year at Big Oak Canyon, and we base our curriculum off of activities that follow the rhythms of the season and follow what is happening on the land. Also, for every class session, we have a letter of the day. So we go through the alphabet, and we use the letter of the day to create a thematic nature-based lesson plan for that day. So for example, when we were doing the letter Y, we learn about the letter Y, we learn about how to say it in sign language, and we might do something like Y is for yucca, and we would make yucca paintbrushes and learn about the plant, and make yellow tea for the letter Y. So yeah, that's how we kind of like, that's the foundation of our day. So just to give an overview of the flow of the day, we start with circle time, and we introduce the topic of the day, and then we have snack time, and then after that we move into the activities for the day, like the main lesson. And we incorporate oral storytelling, journaling, literacy activities. Some of our days might include hikes or a walk to the creek and creek exploration. We have lunchtime, nature games. We incorporate a parent book club sometimes, and then we have our closing circle. So that's the general flow of what a typical day would look like.
Thank you so much, Jordan. I wanted to just share a little bit about how this particular class went through. With you're seeing tracks in the mud, there's some squirrel and some other prints, perhaps coyote. And then on the right, there's an engaged group of adults and kids looking at the tracks and perhaps wondering what's going on in the mud and who came there before. And this scene typically leads to the parents getting so engaged with what they're learning at their level that the kids are going to withdraw a little bit and create this super fun kid zone right next to it. So that's exactly what happened here. And I bring this up because it is an adult and child class. And sometimes we hear feedback from the parents at the end of the semester that they feel like they got more out of it than the children did, because it really is engaging for all of the adults as well. I see that Devin has her hand raised, so I'm going to see if you can unmute yourself, or I can unmute you. I just cannot see my thing. There you go. Can you unmute yourself, Devin? Or it's possible that your hand was raised inadvertently as well. If you have something to say, just go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask a question at any time.
Hi.
And
Yeah, so sorry. I had a quick question about
Sure.
the Earthroots school information. I noticed it's 3 to 6 with parent caregiver.
yes,
If I work sometimes, so if I'm not able to make it, can my mom bring him? Because she's Nana and we live
Yes.
with her.
yes, definitely. We need the younger children to have an adult with them at all times. And it can be a parent, a caregiver, a babysitter.
And
You know,
does it
aunt,
matter
uncle.
if they're still like not potty trained, or does it?
That's
do they
totally
have to
fine.
be?
Yeah,
That's
that's
fine.
totally fine. That's why the parents or caregivers are there, is to help
Right.
with the individual child's needs. And the adult that's with each child is expected to participate with their child for the whole day. And if your child is 4 years and 9 months or older, they can be dropped off and picked up at the end of class. But for the younger participants, they do need an adult there, and that's exactly why.
Right. Awesome, perfect. And then are you guys going to be able to go over costs and stuff like that, or how
Yes.
does that work?
Yeah, we will. We're going to go through several more slides and then we'll have the costs at the end.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. So as you can imagine, being out in a beautiful place with access to wilderness like at Big Oak Canyon, we get to engage with the plants. And so in this picture, you're seeing how we're learning about cactus, and we're actually touching this part of the cactus that's safe to touch, and really carefully getting close to the spines to see what that is. And then we also took some of the prickly pear fruit and made a paint out of it with clay. And we're having an art session. And that's one way that we connect with the plants, is just to know what their different uses are and understand how we can care for the plants and the earth and the water and receive the gifts that they have to share. There's some people who wonder if it's safe to come to forest kindergarten. So I wanted to talk about risks and hazards and how we navigate that in all of our programs, not just with the younger children, but for everyone. And from the lens of child development, being on uneven surfaces and interacting with water and sticks and being in the sun or the cold, those are all very healthy ways to develop your internal structures to be a stronger, more resilient person. So in this picture, I'm just showing how, yes, we do cross creeks in the wintertime, and we do play with sticks, and we do rock tossing games. And yes, there are inherent dangers with some of those things. And what our skilled instructors are there for is to teach awareness and mindfulness and how to keep each other safe when doing things like this. As Jordan said, each day has its own rhythm, and the days follow the same rhythms, but with different activities. And that consistency really helps the children sink into comfort with being out and doing new things, because they have the same routines and know what's coming next. And so this is showing how we have journaling sessions after story. And then after our quiet sit, there's a rainbow bridge, and the instructors sing the students and families out to go on with their day. And that's a good signal that class is over, time to go home now and recharge for the next day. So that concludes our forest kindergarten presentation. Next, we're going to move on to our 1 day a week homeschool program, which is called our Homeschool field class. and it's for children ages 6 to 14 and meets on Thursdays once a week. And this is a program that goes to different sites each week. So the students in this program get an incredible view and experience for all the diverse ecology of Orange County. One week they might be tide pooling along the coast. The next week they might be hiking at a wilderness trail, collecting acorns. The following week they might be at Big Oak Canyon, coming to process those acorns and make acorn pancakes. And after that, we might be at a different park where we're learning about using sticks to create fire by friction, and it goes on through the school year. So the next few slides will show you a few locations that we go to regularly. This one's a special one for me. I have a really warm place in my heart for natural buildings, and this is a unique site that we visit every year where we get to bring the classes inside buildings made out of clay, sand, and straw. And then the children get to make their own miniature house to take home with them. Here's a class. The picture on the right is showing processing yucca, which is a leaf, to make cordage. So the little fibers inside the yucca plant get woven to make the rope that you see on the bottom right. And on the left, they're cutting wood to make handles for their drill bits, the handhold drill bits. Here's a sample of the journal that is made during the homeschool field class. And we'll come back to questions at the end if you have specific questions about that class. And our next class is the Homeschool Enrichment in Nature program. And I'd like to ask Karen to share some about that.
Sure. So the Homeschool Enrichment in Nature is a 2-day-a-week class on Mondays and Wednesdays. And it runs a little bit longer than the other 2 classes, 1 hour longer. So it's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the way it differs from the other homeschool class is they are not at a different location. We don't visit a different location each week, but rather they go back and forth seasonally between 2 locations and also visit coastal locations at the beginning and end of the year. The 2 locations that they visit for about 4 to 6 weeks at a time in these seasonal blocks are Big Oak Canyon and Harding Canyon. And at the beginning of the year, because of the heat, they go to a few different coastal locations, and then they revisit those same coastal locations again at the end of the year to see how they've changed seasonally. And this program is a homeschool enrichment program in that the ecology-based lessons that the instructors provide are, there is academic integration into the lesson. So one of the days, Monday, they'll do some math using the Wild Math curriculum, which is an outdoor nature-based math program that has lots of hands-on activities and movement. And then on Wednesday, they will do some sort of English language arts activity that is tied into the ecology teaching of that week. So for those 2 academic times, the kids are pulled into small, like age groups. And the instructors will work with either like kindergarten, 1st grade, or the older kids so that academic learning is appropriate for their age level or grade. And these pictures show some examples of the journaling. And I think there was an example of one of the math activities that they did in a journal. There, yeah, this one. And let's see, what am I missing here? The activities are seasonal. So depending on what's happening, when we say seasonal, it means what's happening on the land, what plants are growing. That guides the planning of our lessons. So for example, we may teach about native plants, or like Jodi mentioned, acorn harvesting, and that would happen at the time of the year that the kids would see those changes on the land, so they can really connect with what they're learning and tie in social studies, science, math, and language arts in this meaningful way, because they're actually firsthand working with what they're learning. There are typically 3 instructors for this program that co-lead the program. And the kids, like, this is the whole group from last year. And I think there's the 3 instructors there, and the kids are together. They hike out to the location where they meet and have those rhythms and routines like Jodi and Jordan mentioned, where there's a circle time, story, a main lesson, games, but they would go into these smaller groups for the academic portion of the day, so that the kids are working with just one teacher for that time. Let's see, am I missing anything, Jodi, about this
I
program?
think you got it all. I just want to go
Got it
back
all?
a couple slides and
Sure.
point out one thing that I love. My children were in this program last year, and this is my daughter's journal of the class where they learned about the different types of rock. And the picture that I put on the slide is a cave that is made of sandstone. And the children are able to learn about the rocks while they're exploring the different areas and feeling them and finding them and looking up on the cliffs to see how the layering, imagine how the layering developed. And I feel like these concepts really came alive for my daughter last year, and she was able to take the learning that she had in class with Earthroots and be able to describe other situations in different places when we're out as a family, where I could tell that she really had like a deep learning about the concepts. So I'm just so pleased that this program has come to be to support homeschool families who really want that extra academic support in their homeschool journey. And Karen, are you ready to share an activity with us?
Sure.
Okay.
And let's see. One of the activities one thing that we teach, oh, don't show it yet. I'll tell you when, because I only want to give them a
Pretend you
short
never
time.
saw that.
Erase that from your mind's eye. One activity that we teach in our class is where we teach these core routines of nature connection from John Young's Coyote Guide, which is a book that we really use to develop a lot of our curriculum in developing nature connection in all of our students. And these core routines are practices that the kids do in order to learn all the ways to interact with nature in all the classes. And one of them is called Mind's Eye Imagining. And what I'd like you to do is Jodi's going to show you a picture and really look at the picture for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to have you close your eyes and see the picture in your mind's eye. So Jodi, can you show that picture now?
Sure.
Okay, let's take it off. It wasn't timing, that was just sort of feeling what for 30 seconds maybe felt like. So I want you to close your eyes and picture what you saw in your mind's eye and focus on the different parts of the picture, the different shapes that you saw, maybe where different things were. Really strain your mind to see every detail. Notice the colors, textures. Look around all the different areas of the picture. Okay, then let's let's open our eyes. And Jodi's going to show the picture again. And I want you to see if there's anything that you notice that you didn't see in your mind's eye when you closed your eyes, something that you didn't notice the first time. Are there any new details that come?
Maybe that there's no animal, but there's only the prints of the animal. So I kind of imagined like what kind of critters were there, maybe taking a drink of water or, just playing in there, whether it be their cubs or their babies or something with the moms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the way you're using those clues to kind of tell a story. All right, close your eyes one more time. And see if that picture in your mind grew a little more vivid the second time you looked at it. Like she said, she was kind of piecing things together. So maybe connecting with her thoughts, what she thinks might have happened might help you see it a little deeper.
Mhm.
All right, you can open your eyes. And did the picture the second time when you saw it in your mind's eye, did it get more vivid for anybody?
It did for me.
Anyone want to share anything about that?
I wanted to say that this little bundle of green leaves in the lower left, I really saw it as like I was imagining it as 3 distinct leaves. And now when I'm looking at it closer, I can see there's 4 and then a 5th one next to it, and then a big one and a yellow one. And I didn't notice all of those distinct pieces before. I also didn't really notice how many different rocks there were. I just saw that there were a few, but now I can see that there's more than 7.
Nice.
I love that activity.
Now, imagine what this would be like if we were there, and how powerful that would be for the students to experience it firsthand. And this type of activity is done in the form of a game in one of the many games that we play that are all develop this kind of sensory awareness that helps develop the kids' ability to learn, and that naturalist memorization for identifying birds and field guides, looking through field guides. And this really is just a fun game for the kids. Most of us just like, oh, it's playing a fun game, but it's actually a really powerful and meaningful activity to do with the kids.
I remember a while back, John Young was telling a story about someone who, a child in one of his mentoring programs who was a little older and not yet reading. And a parent came to him and said, my son's getting older and all of his peers are reading and I'm really struggling that he's not. And John said that the advice that he gave to that parent was bring your kid to the classes I'm teaching and we'll get him reading in no time. And he wasn't really planning on doing any kind of reading or literature focus, but he described how learning patterns in nature helps stimulate the same brain development that we use for tracking patterns in writing and reading. And so these games like Karen's talking about are really just games, but what they're doing inside our mind are creating new learning pathways and making some of the things that we're trying to learn to fit in to the academic world flow more easily and naturally because we're developing them in fun ways through play. And the connections are happening, even if they seem like we're just looking at tracks of a raccoon on the banks of the creek.
Yeah, as we strain to notice every detail, we're developing that part of our brain, like Jodi said. And Jodi, can you kind of speak to our connection at Earthroots to John Young?
Sure. Sure. I don't exactly remember the year. Maybe it was 2006 when I first was introduced to John and his teaching philosophies and invited him to come down to teach a program for adults that were parents of the Earthroots program and were curious about nature connection and why their children are so lit up when they pick them up after class, and how their development seemed to be on a different track when they started doing things outside more instead of what they had been doing before Earthroots. And so we got together with John, and he started coming about once a year to lead programs for adults and start mentoring our staff. And at the same time, he runs programs all around the world. And we've gone up to some of his intensive programs. When I say we, I mean myself and the other instructors and staff for Earthroots, to the art of mentoring trainings and bird language trainings and deepening nature connection trainings, so that we can bring that energy back to Earthroots. And I personally have been mentored by him since that time, and have taken a break the last couple of years since I've been busy with my family and such. But some of my most memorable experiences in life have been joining him on learning journeys and his community. So I feel really blessed that our whole organization is on board with bringing those teachings to the students and using this book as a field guide so that we can continue it on and on and on and on. Yeah, so just a lot of gratitude to, that lineage of training from John Young and his mentors that has sunk its way into Earthroots.
Mhm.
I could really talk about things, Karen. So next time before you ask me to talk about something, think about it.
And no, I think it's important, because why did we really use that book, and we also refer to it to, for our instructors and our parents. So I really appreciate that explanation.
Yeah, all right, well, let's keep going. We've got a couple more slides to do, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. So in addition to our homeschool classes, and just to mention, the Forest Kindergarten class is not necessarily just for homeschoolers, but they are welcome. And since the age range is for children before school, anyone can come. Some of the other classes that we offer happen on weekends or in the afternoon, so that they're available for other people to attend who aren't on a homeschooling schedule. And if you're interested about those, you can check out our website or send us an email. This picture here is of Shane lighting a fire by rubbing sticks together. And that's one of the skills that all of our weekly classes eventually get to throughout the year. Usually we have those classes in the winter months when the rains are there, and it's so nice to have a fire to cook over or to warm your hands when it's cold outside. Okay, and so we're going to talk about registration just briefly. And like I said, this is going to be recorded, so you can come back here if you had any questions, or give us a call or send an email. But the registration happens all online now, and you can find the class that you're interested in on our homepage. There's a drop-down menu that you'll find, and click the class you wanted to sign up for. Like if it was the Homeschool Enrichment in Nature, you would find that, and then follow the links to register from there. Oh, one thing I wanted to notice or to point out is that we do offer scholarships in all of our programs. We have a BIPOC scholarship for people who identify as Black, Indigenous, people of color, and we have a needs-based scholarship for people who need financial support in order to afford the programs. And those scholarships can be found at the bottom of each class website page. So just scroll all the way down to the bottom and you'll find them there. We also are approved vendor for several Southern California charter schools. And if your charter school is not on this list, we'd be happy to reach out to them on your behalf and start the paperwork to develop a relationship with that charter school. Okay, now we are ready to answer any questions that you might have. And so if you'd like to ask a question, go ahead.
Now, Jodi, for the pricing and stuff, is that online as well to see how much it does cost?
Yes. Karen, do you have that paperwork handy? I'd have to stop sharing my screens to to open up the website. So I wondered if you
I
might.
can open up the website, sure.
Yeah. So each of the class has its own webpage, and all the details, including pricing, are on there. And you can either pay the deposit to hold your child's spot and then pay before the first class the remaining balance. Or if needed, you can set up a payment plan where you pay the deposit to hold the spot and then monthly payments towards the full year. Did you want to ask a specific question about which class, or did you want to look it up?
I can look it up, but I was just curious, like of the kindergarten one,
Mhm.
because my son's 4 and I didn't know, because it says you have 1 day and 2 day options. And what days typically do those hold on if you get like the 2 day or the 1 day options? What are those days? Because I know the days are from the 13th of September to May 30th, but it doesn't really necessarily say the days.
Sure, that's a great question. So Forest Kindergarten happens only 1 day a week, and it's on Tuesday. And the homeschool field class, the one that moves locations from week to week, that one is 1 day a week also on Thursdays. And the 2 day a week program is called the Homeschool Enrichment in Nature, and it meets on Mondays and Wednesdays. So for the Forest Kindergarten program,
It's
you
on
would be
Tuesday.
coming on Tuesdays, that's right.
Okay, and it's still 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., correct?
That's correct.
Okay, cool, awesome. And then I'll look all other stuff on, because I might need to fill out for the need-based scholarship, because I'm a single mom of 2. So I mean, everything's pretty expensive nowadays.
Mhm. Great. Well, just to let you know, the Forest Kindergarten class is nearing full. And so if you have especially if you have a scholarship request, those are due 30 days before the start day of the class, which is really soon. So please go online.
I'm gonna go on today and fill it out.
Perfect. Great.
Sorry.
Great. And Shona, did you have a question?
Hi, yeah, I do. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, sorry, I joined late, so if you answered this already, I apologize.
No worries.
So I had a question about, my kids are 5.5, so I'm interested in either the Forest Kindergarten program or maybe the homeschooling. I have twin boys, they're 5.5. And my question is, do you do any, I love what you're doing. Do you do any language or comprehensive reading skills? I agree with you that language is developed in other ways, but I'm just wondering if any reading skills are taught in the class.
I'm going to pass that one to Karen.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. And also I wanted to jump on the back of that last question. I think it said that if you're in kindergarten age, there is a 1 day or 2 day program, because the 2 day program, the Homeschool Enrichment in Nature program, is kindergarten through 6th grade. So if you have a kindergarten age child, you could go with either of those programs.
Okay, awesome.
The Forest Kindergarten class, as Jordan was saying, does letter recognition and letter, and they go through because they go through the alphabet and it's thematic by that. They practice forming the letters with sticks. They have a journal that they write in. So that's how they integrate reading into that program. They don't necessarily read words in that program, but there is letter sound and recognition that's practiced in that program. The other program, that's a 2 day a week program, also is for kindergarten age, and that one has math. They do wild math once a week, and then they do a language arts, some kind of activity that goes with the topic of the week the other day, but they don't necessarily do reading practice. It's a 2 day a week program. So if you're homeschooling your child, you would need to supplement academically, the other days. They do these math and language arts lessons that support that the age specific standards, but they don't they don't encompass the entire week's worth of homeschooling education that you'd want to give your child. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
Okay, great.
I appreciate the answer. And then I'm sorry, One more question. I know you'd mentioned that scholarships are, am I too late to apply for a scholarship for those programs?
The two, I believe the cutoff date for the 2-day-a-week program has passed because that has an earlier start date. That start date is August 27th, I believe, or the Monday of that week. I'm not sure on the exact date.
Okay.
And the Forest Kindergarten program starts September 13th, I believe. And so we're still 30 days out from that.
Okay.
But if you would like, please email our office to confirm those dates. That would be wonderful.
Okay, sure. I will do that.
The email address is right here. It's info@earthrootsfieldschool.org.
Okay, I'll send over email today. Sounds great.
Thanks so much, Shauna.
Thank you.
Mhm. Well, is there anything else you, Jordan or Karen, would like to share? If not, we're pretty much wrapped up.
Can't think of anything.
Okay. Well, I appreciate.
Oh, actually, one more thing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
of course.
If anybody has any specific questions about the curriculum, or like that one about, what each program includes, or what a day looks like, please feel free to email me. I'm always happy to answer questions via email or phone after this as well.
Thanks so much, Karen. And you can reach Karen at Karen@earthrootsfieldschool.org for those curriculum specific questions.
Thanks, Jodi.
Well, thank you everyone who joined the call today and who's watching the replay. And we look forward to seeing you out in the field. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.